Indiana Jones. Always knew someday you'd come walking back through my door.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is coming, bringing Harrison Ford back to one of his most iconic roles as the smart-mouthed, whip-wielding archaeologist. And that got Smart Cookie's production wanting to dig up some history of our own. So we've unearthed 5 of the craziest facts about the first film in the series, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you want the juicy details behind the film that started it all for Dr. Jones, you're in the right place. From painting donkeys to the actor originally set to play the leading part. This is going to be epic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to make sure you never miss a Smart Cookies production. Buckle up. Things are going to get bumpy. It's the 5 craziest facts about Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Seem to know everything. They can tell me what they want. Well, what do I want to see them for? What am I, in trouble?
Number 5. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of shocking. Did you know that Steven Spielberg was not George Lucas's first choice of director? Well, it's true. All the way back in 1975, George Lucas worked on the idea for Indiana Jones with screenwriter and director Philip Kaufman, coming up with many of the film's key elements during these sessions, like making Nazis the bad guys. He even suggested the Ark of the Covenant be the lost artifact Indiana was hunting. Lucas wanted him to direct the film, but Kaufman was already committed to another project, leaving Lucas without a director. What else could he do but put the project on hold? George didn't come back to Dr. Jones until after finishing the first Star Wars movie. Looking to escape the media surrounding the release of his space opera, Lucas and his wife retreated to Hawaii, taking their friend Steven Spielberg along with them. It was on this trip that Spielberg first heard about Indiana. He had been hoping to work on a James Bond film, but Lucas convinced him that his archaeologist offered even more adventure than 007. With a little convincing, Steven Spielberg agreed to direct his film, and the rest is movie history. Do you think Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark would have still been such a successful film without Spielberg? Let us know in the comments down below. Up next on our list, find out who Lucas and Spielberg originally wanted to play Indiana Jones, as Smart Cookies production keeps digging up the top 5 craziest facts about Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I came up with 2 ideas. One was a space adventure. One was the adventure of an archaeologist looking for supernatural artifacts. I landed on the space thing and said this has got more potential. I think this is going to be more fun to do. Put the archaeologist on the shelf, and then started doing Star Wars. As I was doing Star Wars and I was going along, I was sort of talking to friends to see if I could get somebody to do that film, because I was busy doing Star Wars and I wanted to get that thing made. So nothing really happened until I finished Star Wars, and when I finished it, I was sitting on the beach after the release of the film. We were in Hawaii, and Stephen was there, and he was saying that what he really wanted to do was a James Bond film. And I said, oh, well, I've got a great idea, because this is much better than a James Bond film. And so I told him the story of Indiana Jones, and he said, oh, that's it, let's do it.
Number 4. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. No one would argue with that now. But originally, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg had another actor in mind for the part. Tom Selleck was set to play the role. But it all fell apart when CBS greenlit Magnum P.I., forcing him to hand back the bullwhip. Ford was only considered after Spielberg saw him on screen as Han Solo at a special screening of Star Wars Lucas had invited him to attend. He only then realized he had found Indiana Jones. He told Lucas he wanted Harrison Ford for the part, and George agreed, calling the actor and offering him the job. The rest of the story, well, you already know. Harrison Ford put on the leather jacket, picked up the whip. Over 40 years later, he's still wearing the hat and playing the part that was almost not even his. That's number 4 on our list. Can you imagine Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones? Let us know in the comments down below. Coming up later, find out how a signature moment in the film came together because of unfortunate circumstances. But first,
it was because what's his name? I had Tom. Is that what he called him? Tom? Yeah. Tom had to drop out. Tom Selleck had to drop out because of an overlying commitment to do Magnum PI. So I hadn't heard the words, the name Indiana Jones until about 4 hours before I had the part.
And what happened was, after Tom was preempted because of his commitment to CBS for Magnum PI, George coincidentally asked me to see a cut of Empire Strikes Back. And so I walked in to watch a rough cut of Empire Strikes Back up in Northern California. And when the movie was over, I just walked over to George and I said, "We have our Indiana Jones." He said, "Who?" And I said, "That guy, Han Solo. That's Indiana Jones." And then George said, "Well, yeah, he's a great actor, but he's identified with this character now, in Star Wars." And I said, "Yes, but he's an actor. So he's supposed to be identified with other characters as well." And George never thought about Harrison in that same context. But he immediately, at that point, he said, "Yeah, I think it'd be great." He didn't just, at that point, he threw in and said, "Yeah, it'd be great." And then he called Harrison a couple days later.
Number 3, Indiana Jones. It just has a ring about it. The mention of his name conjures up images of heart-stopping adventure. But when George Lucas initially conceived the idea for the treasure-hunting archaeologist, he named him Indiana Smith, borrowing the name from his Alaskan Malamute. Steven Spielberg feared that audiences would confuse the archaeologist with the 1966 Steve McQueen character, Nevada Smith. So he suggested Indiana Jones. Lucas agreed, and the name went from Indiana Smith to Indiana Jones. Can you believe it? Did you know that Dr. Jones was almost Dr. Smith? Let us know in the comments. It's time for Smart Cookie's production to whip up some more crazy facts about Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wait. I'll tell you everything.
Yes, I know you will.
Number 2. Harrison Ford may have regretted getting the part of the globe-trotting archaeologist after falling ill with dysentery while filming on location in Tunisia. When nearly the entire film crew got sick, Steven Spielberg had to figure out how to keep working, having neither the budget nor the time for delays due to a tight filming schedule from Paramount Pictures, forcing Spielberg and Ford to improvise, creating one of the film's most iconic scenes. As audiences hold their breath, watching Dr. Jones navigate the streets while fighting the bad guys trying to recover Marion, he soon encounters the swordsman, displaying his blade in the air, walking at the exhausted archaeologist. For a moment, you're worried. But then Indiana pulls out his pistol, simply laying the swordsman down with the pull of a trigger. This scene is a fan favorite, but it was never meant to play out like this. There was supposed to be a far more physical altercation, but Ford suggested the simpler scene due to his illness. Spielberg went along. It was movie gold. He even paid homage to the scene by recreating it later in the series. Is this one of your favorite moments in Raiders? If not, then let us know what is in the comments down below. It's now time for the number 1 spot on our list of the top 5 craziest facts about Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
We all finally became ill, except for Stephen, of course, who arrived with a full case of SpaghettiOs and gaffer taped his mouth every time he took a shower.
Once where Harrison is battling the black swordsman and pulls out the gun and shoots the swordsman was a compromise that I made on the day that Harrison wasn't feeling too well.
Number 1. Steven Spielberg faced many challenges while filming Raiders, but one of the most bizarre situations on set came about while filming on location in Hawaii. During the opening scenes of the film, as the archaeologist traverses through the dense jungle in search of treasure, you see that he's accompanied by several men and 2 brown donkeys being used as pack animals for the expedition. While donkeys are generally hardy animals, the pair being used for filming became lame, leaving Spielberg in a bind. Replacing 2 brown donkeys may sound like it should have been easy, but it was not. Only able to find gray donkeys, the decision was made to work with what they had. Deciding to use helicopters to get the new donkeys to their location in Hawaii, The crew then painted the gray donkeys brown using dyed hairspray. Yes, I said they painted the donkeys brown. Somehow, Spielberg made it work, getting the shot using the freshly painted donkeys without missing a take, making this the craziest fact about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Do you agree with our top 5 craziest facts about Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to make sure you never miss what we're digging up next. Thanks for watching a Smart Cookies production.
Hey, what happened? You don't look very happy.
Fools. They don't know what they've got there.
Well, I know what I've got here.